Hello, my fellow YouTubers. This is Roy back again. Welcome to Leedskalnins Workshop. This is his magnetic generator. This was found in his workshop down there in Homestead, and it's called Coral Castle. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it up, get it turning. It's turning with these two field magnets using a car battery and a relay. And we're going to go ahead and start it up and let it run for a little bit and check some things out. Let's go ahead and make sure it's pretty potent stuff, guys. Back it up a little bit. Try to slow it down. Ain't stopping that thing, I'll tell you that. Alrighty. So, next thing to do is get this thing properly adjusted. Get everything a little bit more figured out. And we're going to take a coil, start off with one of those, and we're going to put it in the middle. And because these magnets here are all switched north south north south north south, when these field magnets hit onto the north and south here, what's happening is this is charging this V-shaped magnet right here, so it's completing like sort of a magnetic loop, like a circuit itself. So it's coming through, coming around the back of the V, back through the neutral, coming around, and it's going in both ways. And that's happening on this side, and that's happening on this side also. Coils are pretty cool. So that's going on there, and I think that's part of the balancing out the just balance them out, basically, you know. And let me see what else we're going to do. We're going to check the coil on the inside to see if magnetically if it's going into the coil. So I'm going to check that, and if it is, what I like to do is start charging the block. So maybe one of the wires of that coil would go to the block. We'll go ahead and ground the bottom of the block to the pipe. But I think in the beginning, instead of just going straight across and grounding it right away, I want to try first by making a spark gap there, and see, take some tests and do some things with it. Because if I'm going to charge this block with one charge, say it's a positive charge, the negative charge is sitting right there at that ground pipe. So we would kick that when it builds up enough. I don't know how this would actually work, but it's going to be trial and error. And what we'll do is we'll kind of get it to release. So I guess somehow the capacitor needs to charge through the block somehow, and then release from the capacitor through the spark gap, and the capacitor will be discharged based on the poles that are going off. And probably that's where I'll hook it up, maybe to a PMH, and just things we got to try, because I have this written up on this wall. And even though I'm pretty close to it, I'm not identically close to it. So we would be definitely using a capacitor and high voltage and a coil down the pipe. But we're going to treat this like it's a big PMH. So the top bar here is going to come across the top. You have the handle, and this handle is going to act like another spark gap. So connecting the positive from the block charge to the negative here is going to be a spark gap, and then we'll have one more down bottom there going across there. So that's going to kind of create this loop. So the idea here is to try to siphon ground energy, the amperage, by providing it with high voltage, sort of like a teaser. So we're going to see what we can do with that in order to possibly take high voltage, which is getting rid of amperage, but by having the high voltage as a teaser, meaning like maybe in one capacitor or one different type of metal or whatever it may be, it could, the ground, I believe, will match whatever you put at it in amperage. So if we use high voltage as a teaser, when we get it close to the, we put a bridge and go from ground like we're doing here, the energy that's going through here is going to be tremendous, but it'll be based on how much the buildup is that we create from all this metal and the magnets. Not to mention, what I'm going to try here is separating one of these coils and one of these, and try running it with two coils, and then the EMF coming on the back side here of these coils should be tremendous, and that might be the juice that we need to get back into the block, to charge the block, to go to the capacitor, release out the capacitor, then start jumping space. You know, we'll hang probably the chain here, come from the capacitor, just come up with the chain and hang the chain down with the loop, and get that, adjust that so it's higher or lower. And every time the capacitor releases, and I believe that's why Ed's chain up above his pitcher, I believe it looks to me like it's locked up and it's bound up, like if you would magnetically charge that chain. So I believe that every time that capacitor released, when the wheel was turned, it would put a magnetic current through the chain, which would, I think it's the magnetic current that is pulling the amperage out of the earth. So it's the high voltage, which basically is outside the crust of the earth, which is the atmosphere. And in order to get the one pole, like treat that ground pipe just like it's a head on one of these 12-volt batteries. So one of those poles. So we already got one pole. It's called Mother Nature. Bam, there she sits. So now we need to create the high voltage. And I think to Ed, you know, if you think about the time he was living, he's obviously reading, going to the library, getting stuff from Tesla. Tesla's having his heyday time. He's already done Niagara Falls. He's reading about Maxwell. He's reading about Faraday. He's going through the whole gamut. So, and he already built Coral Castle. So when he started working on the wheel, it had many purposes. So one purpose could be, or we know that it is, for a signal generator to operate machinery out in the field and sort of make them like robots. So when this wheel turned, there could be 10 of them doing 10 different things. They did what he wanted, that he set them up for as a machinery, and by the pulse generator would work the field magnets and all the coils and all the tools out there. So that's one phase of it. And the other phase is, I like that that he made his own book, Magnetic Current, because he takes that and his other writings and he talks about several different things. I mean, from astrology to acid. I mean, it's straight through he talks about. So obviously he had a lot of time on his hands. He did a lot of research. Plus he was able to work out in his little machine shop there, and he was able to go down to the junkyard, get basically whatever he wanted, and then he can go ahead and come back to the workshop and he can make whatever he wants. So on and on and on, many layers of Ed. So this is to Ed Leedskalnin. This is my tribute to Ed. Let's go ahead and set this up one more time. Let's give it a little bit run, and here we go. I'm going to move it closer a little bit and have it go faster, and you'll just hear it by the relay. Now, I don't want to make it go too fast. I'm just starting to break it in. I did take the crank out of the block a week ago and greased it up. I think the water I put inside kind of went down into the crank. He used these up top here for cam, and he went ahead and had attachments on top here that would pulse out to the field, and many more things. So you guys stay tuned. There'll be a lot of good stuff coming out of here, and I think one of the main things now is, now that it's running outside, I'm going to focus on getting it down for the outside, but I want to shift my focus to converting the energy inside by what I already have here present. And Tesla's work that he has done is so much intertwined with Ed Leedskalnin. So my hat off to Ed Leedskalnin. You guys take care. Thank you.